Hi, Bridge parents. As promised, this is Mrs. Broadhurst, and I am doing my Pattern 1 video and just a little bit of background on Shurley Grammar. If your student is in my class, I gave everyone a grammar interactive notebook or lap book, and in it I placed jingles that we sing every day in class, and then also this parent's guide to the Shurley Grammar question and answer flow. So at any time during the school year for at least Pattern 1, if you have any questions about how to find a part of speech or you're not sure how to help with sentences, please refer to this section in the notebook. I have found it to be very helpful in finding the correct answers that I need. Also, don't forget to purchase the teacher's manual because that also will assist you in finding questions or finding answers. I'm sorry. Okay, so just to get started, a little overview. Shurley Grammar is a process or a program in which we use jingles and ask questions to find parts of speech and to classify sentences. So Shurley Grammar has 7 patterns, and I have them here. I will lay it down here actually. So Shurley Grammar has 7 patterns. You will see the program goes from 1st grade to 7th grade, level 1 to level 7. So you will normally do 1 pattern for each grade. I think when you hit 5th and 6th, it kind of combines a little bit with the patterns 5 and 6. But if you're in 1st grade, you'll do pattern 1, and in 2nd grade, 1 and 2, and it's a review. 3rd grade, 1, 2, 3, and so on until you get to the end. One of the things that I want you to notice is that each pattern begins the same way. So there's subject, noun, verb, and then pattern 2 is subject, noun, verb, transitive, direct object. Pattern 3, subject, noun, verb, transitive, indirect object, direct object. Pattern 4, subject, noun, verb, transitive, predicate, noun. Pattern 5, subject, noun, verb, transitive, linking verb, predicate, adjective. Pattern 6, subject, noun, verb, transitive, direct object, object, complement, noun. And then pattern 7 is subject, noun, verb, transitive, direct object, object, complement, adjective. So within the 7 levels, your child will learn how to identify all of these sentences. So as I mentioned, just notice each pattern begins with subject, noun, verb, because those are the core parts to every sentence that we will be learning throughout the school year or for every year. For pattern 1, this is exclusive to pattern 1. The Shurley Grammar abbreviations that the children will be using during pattern 1 is SN for subject, noun, V for verb, ADV for adverb, ADJ for adjective, P for preposition, A for article adjective, OP for object of the preposition. So those are abbreviations that you will see a lot while you are doing your Shurley Grammar sentences. For pattern 1, like I said, this video is about pattern 1. The pattern 1 sentence is subject, noun, verb, pattern 1. So in English, all of our sentences fall into patterns if you recognize the pattern of a sentence's core parts, which is subject, noun, verb. The grammar of the sentence or its word arrangement will make more sense. So just remember, pattern 1 is always going to tell us who the sentence is about and what he or she or it is doing. So you'll see my sentence here. For example, Tanya runs. Who is running? Who runs? Tanya. Subject, noun. And so we're just going to write subject, noun up here at the top. What is being said about Tanya? Tanya runs. Verb. Now you heard how I just said that script. That is the script that your student will always say their sentences. They're always going to ask who. We're going to find the subject, noun, verse, and they're going to ask who, and then read the verb. And then you're going to say for the verb, what is being said about the subject, noun. So again, Tanya runs. Who runs? Tanya, subject noun, and that's when you write the subject noun. What is being said about Tanya? Tanya runs, verb. And you will find that the repetition goes on and on throughout the entire school year. We normally stay on pattern 1. I can speak for first grade, we do pattern 1 the entire year. 5th and 6th grade, we stay on pattern 1 for about a month or 2 so that your child really gets used to that script. Okay, so let's move on. So let's do a couple of examples here and see if this helps. So the first thing you're going to do with your child is read the sentence. Doctor spoke. The first question is, who spoke? Doctor, subject noun. What is being said about doctor? Doctor spoke, verb. Next sentence. Horses ran. What ran? Horses, subject noun. What is being said about horses? Horses ran, verb. So you see, we're identifying the subject. Subject noun means the same subject and noun mean the same thing. And what the subject does. The horses ran. Next. Number 3, speaker arrived. Who arrived? Speaker, subject noun. What is being said about speaker? Speaker arrived, verb. Lastly, monkey chattered. What chattered? Monkey, subject noun. What is being said about monkey? Monkey chattered, verb. So see, that's it. Once you get past that, you already know how to identify your subject noun and your verb. And you might want to practice this a couple of times. I know in classes we will be going over them periodically, or just as simple to find the subject noun verb in a sentence. But it just is repetition and it's practice, and and it takes a little bit of time. So now let's add the adverb, adjective, and article adjective. So we have discussed this in class, or will discuss this in class. But to find the adverb, you have to ask the verb in the sentence how, when, or where. And we have a jingle. We have an adverb jingle. We have an adjective jingle. And we have an article adjective jingle. So for adverb, you're going to ask the verb how, when, and where. Remember that abbreviation is ADV. So in our first sample sentence, I run slowly. Who runs slowly? I, and this is actually, you will get to this later, would be a subject pronoun. I run. What's being said about I? I run. Verb. Run how? Slowly. Adverb, because it's asking the verb run how? Slowly. Next, she ran yesterday. Which one is the verb? Ran. Ran when? Yesterday. Adverb. She ran away. Ran where? Away. Adverb. So you see, those are the 3 sentences that you would ask to find the adverb. How, when, and where. To find the adjective, we're going to actually ask the noun. So we'll ask the noun in the sentence, what kind, which one, how many. And the abbreviation is ADJ. So our first sentence, the brown dog runs. What kind of dog? Brown. Adjective. So ADJ goes on top. Our next sentence, the dogs ran. How many dogs ran? 3. ADJ, adjective. I think this is supposed to say, the girl ran yesterday. And then the question, then it would be, ran when? Yesterday, ADJ. I'm sorry. No, that's part of the adverb. Please ignore that. That's part of my adverb example that I had over here. Didn't take it off. Okay. On to the next. Article adjective. When we see these three words in a sentence, we are automatically going to put the abbreviation A. They are known as noun markers. So when you see a dog, A, an animal, A, article adjective, the girl, A, for article adjective. They are indefinite markers, A and N, indefinite markers. So now let's look at some sample sentences. I'm going to keep with my pencil because I think my marker is bleeding, if you don't mind. A brilliant doctor spoke reluctantly. Who spoke reluctantly? Doctor. Subject, noun. So remember, we're going to stay the script over and over. What is being said about doctor? Doctor spoke. Verb. Spoke how? Reluctantly. Adverb. So remember, our adverb is how, when, and where. So when we start a sentence, we go from left to right, start from the subject noun. When we get to the end, we jump back over and complete the rest. What kind of doctor? Brilliant. Adjective. A, article adjective. See? Next sentence. Several chestnut horses ran fast. What ran fast? Horses. Subject, noun. What is being said about horses? Horses ran. Verb. Ran how? Fast. Adverb. Remember, now we're going to jump back over. What kind of horses? Chestnut. Adjective. How many horses? Several. Adjective. Good. Okay, our next sentence. The keynote speaker arrived late yesterday. Who arrived late yesterday? Speaker. Subject, noun. What is being said about speaker? Speaker arrived. Verb. Arrived when? Remember, that's it. Arrived when? Late. Adverb. Arrived when? Yesterday. Adverb. And this can even answer how. Arrived how? Late. As long as it answers the adverb questions. And I should have jotted up here those adjectives. What kind? Which one? How many? There we go. All right, we got to the end of our sentence. Let's jump back over. What kind of speaker? Keynote. Adjective. The, article adjective. Good. Our last sentence. The small tropical monkey chattered noisily. What chattered noisily? Monkey. Subject, noun. What is being said about monkey? Monkey chattered. Verb. Chattered. How? Noisily. Adverb. Remember, now it's time to jump back over. What kind of monkey? Tropical. Adjective. What kind of tropical monkey? Small. Adjective. The, article adjective. And those are our sentences. So when you're doing pattern 1, that is what you're going to ask yourself. You're going to ask those questions. You're going to go down the line from the noun. When you get to the end, you're going to jump back over and go from the beginning and make sure everything is completed. Now, pattern 1 isn't done because there's 2 more parts of pattern 1 that you need to know about, or 3 more. This is important. This is called classifying the sentence. So so now that you know how to find the subject noun, the verb, the adjective, the adverb, and the article adjective, you have to identify the sentence. So what we do when you see these lines in the front, all we're doing is showing you and labeling what type of sentence it is. So we're going to identify the pattern, the type of sentence, the prepositional phrase, if there's one, a complete subject, and a complete predicate. Okay? Tanya runs. Who runs? Tanya. Subject noun. What is being said about Tanya? Tanya runs. Verb. Is our sentence complete? It is. Now it's time to say what kind of sentence it is. Subject, noun, verb. Underneath the line, you're going to put pattern 1. Now, what we'll do next is if there's a preposition in here, we would look for a preposition, but there isn't. So once we put subject, noun, verb, pattern 1, we're going to go check for prepositional phrases. There are none, period. So now we classify the sentence. You don't have to, I'm just circling it for what we're doing. This is a statement declarative sentence. We went over all 4 types of sentences in class. This is a declarative sentence because it's just giving us a statement. Statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb and divide. And this is how we find the complete subject. Tanya's the complete subject from the complete predicate. And we underline twice. So the line for the divide always goes in front of the verb. Now, when you get to later patterns, there'll be one little thing in there where that will change, and that's if it's an adverb exception. But don't worry about that right now, or unnatural order. It's going to move. But for right now, don't worry about that. We're underlining the complete subject and underlining the complete predicate. But we also know that that subject, whatever the subject noun is also the simple subject. And this first word, the verb, is also the simple predicate. So I'll show you in this sentence. Nico runs in the house. Who runs in the house? Nico, subject noun. What is being said about Nico? Nico runs, verb. In, preposition, and we'll go into that in a minute. In what? Object of in what? House, object of the preposition. The, article adjective. Now I'm only using this sentence because I want to show you about classifying, because I'm getting ready to show you prepositions and objects of the prepositions in a minute. So just bear with me. So our sentence is completely labeled. We go back here, subject, noun, verb, pattern 1. Check. What are we checking for? Prepositional phrases. There's a prepositional phrase. We're going to identify it. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb and divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. And this is what a typical pattern 1 sentence looks like, with the preposition, object of the preposition, subject, noun, and a verb. We know Nico is also the simple subject and runs is the simple predicate. Okay, one more example of just classifying and labeling an entire sentence. And then I'm going to move on to preposition phrases. The fat frog sat on a rock. What sat on a rock? Frog, subject, noun. What is being said about frog? Frog sat, verb. On, preposition. On what? Rock, object of the preposition. A, article adjective. Remember, now it's time for us to go back. What kind of frog? Fat, adjective. The, article adjective. Now we have to label it. Subject, noun. I'm going to move over so I can make sure you can see me. Subject, noun. Verb, Pattern 1. Check. What are we checking for? Prepositional phrases. There's one. On a rock. Prepositional phrase. Period. Statement. Declarative sentence. Because it's a declarative sentence. It's just telling us what the frog sat on. Go back to the verb and divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. What's the simple subject? Frog. What's the simple predicate? Sat. Okay, so I hope that helped. When you get to your sentences and you need to watch this again, don't hesitate to turn back to this section of the video. Now, you can pause this if you want to just practice your classifying sentences. For those that aren't, let's just keep going. The preposition and object of the preposition. So you just watched me classify a sentence that had a preposition and an object of the preposition. A preposition is a word that joins a noun or pronoun to the rest of the sentence. So, for example, the word at, and we have a jingle, a preposition jingle. If you don't know it, make sure you learn it. This is the one jingle that I tell everyone is so important for you to know, because you want to be able to see a preposition and know that it is a preposition without having to think about it. So make sure you memorize that preposition jingle. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask the word at, what, or whom. So if the answer to that is what, if the answer gives you the noun, then it's a preposition. At what or at whom. See, at was the example. If it's in what or in whom. Or think about what are some of our other prepositions. Above what or above whom. Whatever the answer is, if the answer is a noun or a pronoun, then you know that this is a preposition. So let's look at this example. In the store, and we like to sing it actually. So I like to say in the store, prepositional phrase. Down the street, prepositional phrase. But we know that in is a preposition, one, because the jingle told us, and two, in answers what or whom to the noun. In what? Store. So we know it's a preposition. Down what? Street. So down is a preposition. Object of the preposition is the noun or pronoun that is after the preposition, and we label it OP. I'm sorry if I didn't mention we label a preposition P. So you saw in the last part of the video I did P and I put an OP. So in the store, store is the noun that's after in, and it answers in what? Store. So store is the object of the preposition. It's what the preposition is talking about. Down the street. Street is a noun, and it's after the preposition. Down answers street. Street answers what? Down the street. So that's how you find your preposition and object of the preposition. So let's just do a couple of examples. And then I think we are pretty much done for our pattern 1 sentences. So let's do from beginning to end for prepositional phrases. So this is a typical sentence that you're going to find. The tiny baby slept in the crib. Do not forget the script. Who slept in the crib? Baby. Subject noun. What is being said about baby? Baby slept. Verb. In, preposition. In what? Crib, object of the preposition. The, article adjective. Let's go back. What kind of baby? Tiny, adjective. The, article adjective. If everything is done, now it's time for us to label. Subject, what type of sentence is it? Subject, noun, verb, Pattern 1, check. What are we checking for? Prepositional phrases. We have one. Whenever we have a preposition, we put parentheses around it. In the crib, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb and divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. 2 lines. There we go. 8 small boys played in the garden. Who played in the garden? Boys. Subject, noun. What is being said about boys? Boys played. Verb. In, preposition. In what? Garden. Object of the preposition. Let's go back. The, article adjective. Go to the left. What kind of boys? Small. Adjective. How many boys? 8. Adjective. Remember, adjective asks what kind, which one, how many. Our sentence is complete, so let's label. Subject, noun, verb, pattern 1, check. What are we checking for? Prepositional phrases. We have 1. In the garden, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb and divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. Okay, 2 more sentences and then we're done. The big ocean waves crash loudly across the rocks. Ooh, this is a long one. What crashed loudly across the rocks? Waves, subject, noun. What is being said about waves? Waves crashed, verb. Crashed how? Loudly, adverb. Across, preposition. Remember, we know this because it's in the jingle. This is why you have to know the jingle. And also, it answers what? Across what? Rocks, object of the preposition. You see, rocks is the noun after our preposition. So we know it's the object of the preposition. The, article adjective. Go back to the front. What kind of waves? Ocean, adjective. What kind of waves? Big, adjective. The, article adjective. Now let's classify. Subject, noun. Sorry, I'm in the way. Verb, pattern 1. Check. What are we checking for? Prepositional phrases. We have 1. Across the rocks, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb and divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. If this were an imperative sentence, that would be a question. So if this sentence ended with the question, we would put IMP. Oh, I'm sorry. That's an interrogative. I apologize. If this sentence ended with a question, it would be an interrogative. We would put INT. If this sentence ended with a period, but where the sentence was a command, like go clean your room, pick up the toys, walk across the street. That's an imperative. It's still going to end with the period, but you're going to put IMP. And then if it's an exclamation point, because it has a sentence with a strong feeling, you're going to put EX. Last sentence. 5 large green kites flew high in the sky. What flew high in the sky? Kites. Subject, noun. What is being said about kites? Kites flew. Verb. Flew how? High. Adverb. In, preposition. In what? Sky. Object of the preposition. It's the noun after the preposition. The, article adjective. What kind of kites? Green, adjective. What kind of green kites? Large, adjective. How many large green kites? 5. Adjective. Subject noun. Verb. Pattern 1. Check. Check for prepositional phrases. We have 1. In the sky, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb and divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. And we know kites is the simple subject. Flew is the simple predicate. Waves is the simple subject. Crashed is the simple predicate. Boys is the simple subject. Played is the simple predicate. And baby is the simple subject. Slept is the simple predicate. That's important because you'll be asked that on your Shurley Grammar quizzes or tests. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. But watch this video as many times as you can. Don't forget, review that parent's guide to the Shurley Grammar question and answer flow. It has exactly what I just taught, which was, you'll see who glanced nervously at the clock, because the sentence is the anxious student glanced nervously at the clock. Who glanced nervously at the clock? Student, subject, noun. Then the next question, what is being said about student? Student glanced, verb. Next question, glanced how? Nervously, adverb. Finding the preposition, at. Preposition, at what? Clock, object of the preposition. The, article, adjective. To find the adjective, what kind of student? Anxious, adjective. The rest of the Q&A flow for the sample sentence, the, article, adjective. Then we say subject, noun, verb, pattern 1. Check. We're checking for what? Prepositional phrase. There is 1 at the clock. Prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. You're going to write a D at the end of the sentence. Go back to the verb. Divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. And that is it. So, like I said, if you have any questions or you're not quite sure, you kind of get stuck, refer to this video, refer to my question and answer parent's guide, or you can stop me in the hall or send me an email or a text, and I'm more than happy to help. Okay, I will try and do another video for the rest of the patterns for those that will be going into the patterns 2, 3, 4, and 5. But for right now, at the beginning of the school year, this is the only pattern we will be doing. Okay.